everybody. It is Sunday night. Beyond Ringside Radio Network. We are live on Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio. The triple threat, of course, is in the house. Good to see everybody. It's Stan Grubb here with Rob Hefner. Rob, what's going on?
Holla, holla, what's happening from this part of the world?
And, of course, Brian Taylor. How are you, sir?
Doing well.
And we are joined, as always, by the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Lane. What's up, Eddie?
It's been a good weekend, even though Superman won the Auto Club 400 earlier today in California. Batman finished 11th.
Whoop, whoop. Get used to it, Batsy.
You had to start staying off.
Yeah, that's how it's going to be.
I'm sorry. For me, watching Superman come across the finish line hooked to Jimmy Johnson, just kind of like, I'm sorry, Superman just lost some cool points.
Actually, the only cool points he lost was when Johnson forgot. Two things happened. Number one, Johnson missed the catch when it came to the checkered flag being tossed at him through the fence. Had to climb out of the car, lean over, and get it. Number two, he climbed out of the car in victory lane and forgot to put the cape on before he did the Superman dive.
That'd have been kind of cool if he had, except he would probably hurt himself.
No, actually, he had the Superman cape ready to go. They handed it to him. He just didn't put it on before he did the dive. And then, of course, to see him and Chad Canals standing there wearing the Superman fire suits, which you know those are going to be one-shot wonders. They will never be used again. They are going home and being framed by somebody, because I know that's what I'd do with mine.
Oh, yeah. It kind of was reminiscent to, I don't know if you remember Austin Dillon a few years ago when he did the belly slide through the infield.
Yeah.
And then when he kind of just hit and stopped.
Yep.
He's like, oh, yeah.
Never mind.
So we got a lot to talk about, lots of things to go over, lots of things to dive into. Man, it's been a busy, busy wrestling week. Let's go ahead and start off. Past few weeks, we've been starting off with this guy, so why not finish it out on a high note? The Hulkster, Hulkamania, running wild, winning his lawsuit against Gawker. And if I remember the number correctly, $115 million in just the decision alone, the judgment alone. We don't even know what the punitive damages will look like. This is a great victory for Hogan.
Are we allowed to talk now, Stan?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know my place. I didn't want to overstep my bounds.
Yeah, and for those that are listening, apparently I have made the guys feel as if they're not allowed to speak. Let's all make sure that they've got an open forum to speak and talk to us and tell us what's up.
No.
Let my people go.
Let my people go.
We can't be silenced. No, I was just saying earlier on the pre-show that we had, like I had seen on the news this morning, that they did an interview with the founder of Gawker, and he said that this was filmed before they had the lawsuit verdict. But he said that if any case to go to court, he was glad this one did, because he knew that they did nothing wrong. But then he did say, kind of foreshadowing it, that if he did lose, that he would win on appeal. So obviously it's going to be a long time till Hogan sees that $115 million, more than what he asked for, actually.
Well, I just hope Hogan can sleep at night now that he knows that his schlong is worth $115 million.
I'm sure he'll be laying on a bed of money.
But that's just not right.
Bed of Benjamins.
Right.
Actually, I think that almost takes care of his tanning bed bill.
That might pay the rent on Hogan's Beach Shop for a couple months.
Or his ex.
Oh. How much? What kind of chunk of change do you think she's going to see from them? Because I imagine in their divorce, she gets a percentage. What do you think? She's getting 50%?
I don't know. I think it was one of those. He paid her a lump sum and she's out.
Yeah.
For his sake, I hope so.
How much do you think he's going to give Bubba and Heather?
I don't think he's got much of a working relationship with Bubba anymore. Now, he might pay Heather.
Well, she was the co-star.
Yeah. What do co-stars get these days?
I don't know. A lot of good co-stars get it on the back end.
You know,
And
she did
that's
put him
why
over.
it's called Fast Eddie, people.
She did put him over, though, for the record.
Or was he just on top?
She did the J.O.B.
She went. She was down for the count.
Where was the ref? That's what I want to know.
Holding the cameras.
The ref was IUD.
All right, I'm calling shenanigans. We're going to stop this. Last time we spent about half a show.
Talking about Mr. America.
I'm just trying to figure out how much he used on his creative card.
No. I'm not bending that way. I just won't do it.
Was it Python power?
Feel the power of the 24-inch pythons.
Brother.
Brother.
Let me tell you something, Mean Gene. Okay.
Hogan
He
was
say his
quoted,
prayers, eat his vitamins.
He may have ate her vitamins.
Hogan was quoted on Twitter as saying this is just as big as slamming Andre the Giant.
I would agree because this should hopefully teach some people a lesson that you just shouldn't air stolen footage of somebody's private activities if it was indeed stolen.
I think one of the main things is going to see how the appeals court handles it. If the initial ruling is held up in the appeals court, then I think it opens the door for all of those others, people that have been, have had to deal with this in Gawker and all these other little media sites that think they're untouchable. I think we'll see a lot more of these if it keeps going.
Well, for some of them, though, I'd just soon pay them to take the tape back. I mean, there are a couple that are just like, can I give you money to undo what I've seen?
I mean, it had to have been a tough day at the office for those that really weren't prepared to see any of that footage. I mean, I don't know how much they actually showed during the trial, but I know Hogan wouldn't look at the screen. According to transcripts, he was visibly shaken. Wouldn't look at the screens that they had playing the video. Heather Clem wouldn't even, or Heather Cole, I think her last name is now, wouldn't look at Bubba at all. Wouldn't make eye contact with Hogan. Clearly, an uncomfortable situation for all parties.
Yeah, it's probably pretty rough. I mean, to me, that's a clear violation, and it just shouldn't have happened.
Agreed.
Pay for it.
And with that being the case, as Brian put up, let's go ahead and move on. I think we've given that lawsuit as much possible coverage as we can. I think we've been fair and honest about it and had some fun. But moving
One more question.
Oh, go right ahead.
Question. How long do you think it'll be until it's on the network?
Oh.
Is that the adults only section?
Wow. Well, I just want to know if Stan can do us a review on a dark and stormy night.
It's not been that cold of a spring.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
How's righty?
What?
How's righty?
Just as good as lefty.
But the problem with that is which parties of that would he be looking at?
Oh, now see, why we always got to take it there, man?
Because you're a Hogan fan, you know it.
I mean, I think we all had a Hulk. Well, no, Brian has never been a Hulkamaniac. Let's be fair.
Correct.
Brian was never a Hulkamaniac. Myself and Rob were Hogan fans at one point or another. But
Yeah.
I think over time we got tired of seeing what he did from a wrestling perspective, just what he did in the ring as far as creative control. It got boring. It got old. And we got tired of seeing it.
Yep.
So.
Okay. No more Hogan.
Exactly. Next up in the news, a big news event for TNA. Lots of news coming out of TNA, as a matter of fact. Congratulations from Corner to Corner and the Beyond Ringside Radio Network to one Drew Galloway. And spoiler alert, folks, if you haven't been on Twitter or any other type of social media, it was already spoiled by those in the know over at TNA. Dixie Carter, for one, Josh Matthews, and so on and so on. Drew Galloway, winning the TNA World Championship for Matt Hardy.
Yes, that's pretty big, I think.
Big step forward for him.
Yeah, because it's definitely a different direction, I think. So maybe they can finally get it together a little bit and put out some quality stuff.
I think we'd all agree that Drew McIntyre was underutilized in WWE.
I mean, I think finally we have somebody that can hold the title and actually perform to the caliber that the title needs to be held at.
But at the same time, it does carry into that old familiar song where TNA goes on back to a former WWE talent as their main guy.
Wasn't Matt Hardy?
Yep.
I mean, TNA doesn't have any homegrown talent.
Well,
except Bobby Roode, and he's,
they still have some talent that was there at the start, but I think their mistake is when they were doing that. What was it called? Where they would bring in outside guys and give them a chance to wrestle on TV, and then they would pick pick somebody. Crap, I can't remember what it was. I think Joey Ryan was in it, and some of these other guys.
When Aces of Eights, was it?
No. This was like they would give them a shot.
Ah.
I can't remember what it was called. This was a number of years ago, but they bring in like...
Oh, the gut check.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it was. I mean, I thought they kind of missed the boat on that. They should have been keeping some of these guys that weren't in the company on a regular basis and giving them more of a shot.
Well, I think what we've seen with TNA is they're willing to try something new. They're willing to put it out there and see how it works. I like the fact that they were willing to take a chance with Jeff Hardy when no one else would. I like the fact that they were able to focus on their X division for a long amount of time. It's unfortunate the X division doesn't get quite as much attention as it used to. It's still a pretty main player for their company, but when you look at the main event scene, I really enjoyed the Aces and Eights storyline. I liked what they did with that, but it was apparent that it could only last for but so long.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the X division, they let it go much like WCW did when they were pushing the cruiserweights. They had some good talent that they let slip through their fingers, and now the X division is nothing like it used to be.
Deadpool, you're so dead.
Joining us in the back.
Sniper shot.
Wow.
Joining us in the background this evening is Mrs. Rob.
Say hi, Mrs. Rob.
Say hi to the people, Mrs. Rob. It's official, Deadpool is dead. I don't know if you heard. I don't want to put a spoiler out there, but apparently Deadpool is dead.
Oh,
Can't we say the same thing about Drake yet?
If there's any justice in this world.
Drake would
All right. I believe also that the female title changes hands, and it's a spoiler if you haven't seen it. I think it was Jade that wins the title and against Gail Kim and Madison Rain. So that's pretty good. One of the Dollhouse, whatever they're going by now, actually finally manages to get the title.
Yeah, we're happy to see Mia Yim get a shot there. I think that's good stuff.
Mm-hmm. So congrats to her.
Tag team championship saw a change as well, but it's interesting now. we won't necessarily go through the spoilers on that, but we will point out that TNA...
Why not?
Because TNA is going to be lighter two talents. Turned in their notice, granted their release, Bobby Roode and Eric Young.
Huge losses. Big losses.
Big losses. Two TNA originals, former world champions. Bobby Roode, one of their crowning achievements, in my opinion, was turning him heel and having that singles run, even though some of his matches were annoying. But I'm the kind of guy that likes to see a good guy at least have a fighting chance. Brian's more of a fan of the villain, wouldn't you say, Brian?
I've always been a fan of the villain, thanks to the likes of Ric Flair and Ivan Koloff.
And there you go. So, I mean, when we look at it, this is a big loss for TNA because you can't replace a guy like Bobby Roode, and certainly not Eric Young.
No, I think to TNA, the era of Bobby Roode is kind of like what the era that WWE had with John Cena there for a while. You know, when they didn't have any talent to put the title on, who'd they put it on? They put it on Bobby Roode. They took it off of Bobby Roode. They put it back on Bobby Roode. And I think if they go where we think they're going, it's going to solidify my idea that NXT is going to be its own brand and its own. It's not going to be a feeder system for the WWE. That's what I'm feeling. But anyway.
I think you're right. I mean, James Storm's got to be kicking himself because my thought process is he knew he'd make money with Bobby Roode as his tag partner. Goes over, and now Roode's going to take his leave. And I imagine it's only a matter of time before we see both Eric Young and Bobby Roode in WWE.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the weight limit's going to be on the cruiserweight tournament or whatever it's called. But to me, if Eric Young, he's probably a little over 205. But if he was somewhere close to the weight limit, I'd put him in it. Pretty quick.
There was a time where I think Eric Young was well within that. He's gotten bigger through the years. He might be able to slim down some.
Yeah, again, I don't know how much he would need, but I mean, if it was me, Eric Young and Bobby Roode would both be on a plane right now to Connecticut, and I would put Eric Young in next, and I put Bobby Roode on the main roster.
If there's a guy that's primed and ready for the main roster, I'd say I was almost going to say AJ Styles. There would be Bobby Roode because there's a guy much like AJ Styles that has been around long enough and understands the industry well enough to where I think he'd be able to keep pace.
Well, now that Roode is left, though, you have to wonder if James Storm is now kicking himself in the arse for not staying on Next, coming back and then reforming Beer Money, and just a couple weeks later, it all disappears for him.
If I'm James Storm, I'm definitely disappointed. Rob, what are your thoughts?
No, I think James Storm is at WWE as soon as he can get out of his contract. I mean, I think with Bobby Roode leaving, to me, Bobby Roode and Eric Young were two of the mainstays that were going to keep TNA afloat. And with losing those two people, it would be like two of your main guys. It would be like I said, it'd kind of be like your John Cena or somebody at WWE just saying, you know what, peace, I'm out. And, you know, it's only a matter of time now. Dixie Carter's, I mean, it's over.
I think so, too. I mean, much like when ECW started seeing a lot of their main talent, Raven, Sandman, Taz, Saturn, all of these main guys that were there, and they jumped ship to WCW. They had to actually find a way to keep going, and they ultimately did with Steve Corino and Amish Roadkill and some of the other guys that we don't necessarily know a whole lot about, but we do know that they were stars there. Of course, Rhino is another example. Mike Awesome was a big loss for ECW back at that point. So when you look at it, the parallels they're there. And I feel bad for TNA in the aspect of this won't help them when they renegotiate with Pop TV.
No, because you got to think, Jeff Hardy has already announced he's out the door.
And Matt Hardy's going to be close behind, I think.
I mean, so what are you going to do? You're going to build a title, put your title on a guy who you know is already. That'd be like WWE giving Wade Barrett the belt. They already know Wade Barrett's supposedly out the door. I think Wade Barrett kind of reconsiders at the end of this, but I mean, it's going to do nothing but open the door for Global Force.
And that's a good point. Jeff Jarrett's company, Global Force Wrestling, still has yet to announce a television deal. But when you see a loss like this, a large loss with Bobby Roode and Eric Young, this is one of those moments where he's got to step up to the plate and deliver. And if he needs more name talent for his TV deal, it's a great opportunity for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think you either see Jeff Jarrett get a deal on Spike because he's the one that took TNA to Spike. I either see him take that to Spike, or I see NXT getting a network deal. And if you see NXT getting a network deal, then it's done.
Yeah, if NXT were ever to get on television, I agree. I think that would be the death knell. And there's a lot of TNA diehards out there that would argue saying that it wouldn't really matter. But the truth is, TNA hasn't delivered growth ratings-wise in the past 5 years. They stayed right around the 2.0, 1.8 mark, and then when they made the jump to Destination America, they went from just over 1 million viewers every week to 400, 500,000. They go to Pop TV. Now it's 200, 300,000. This is a huge, huge loss, and it's not going to get any better for them until they start being honest with themselves as far as how they do business. I really don't know if there is a way that they can rectify the situation, though.
Well, I think
the boat's on the way down to the bottom of the ocean, and I don't know how they could pull it around. And I've been watching TNA since the beginning. We've had arguments and discussions over my feelings on TNA and y'all's, but even I'm going to have to admit this is probably it with the loss of these two.
Come on, Brian, sing it.
Sing what?
Sing a song.
Turn out the lights, the
party's over.
Come on, Brian.
Was that it?
I would say that a little inside baseball, but I wish we could get Nick Anthony on the phone so I could just remind him of how many times I told him that TNA was going to ultimately fail. He's one of the most diehard TNA fans I know, but again, totally inside, so I apologize.
Well, I mean, I think it goes down to, and this could be me and I could be totally wrong, but the reason Ring of Honor has worked is because Ring of Honor doesn't compete with anybody. Ring of Honor says, we're going to do it our way, the way we do it. TNA, even though they say they're not competing with WWE, they still do.
Yeah.
And when WWE was competing with WCW, and WCW was having repeated live weeks every week, they were spanking WWE in the ratings because WWE was taped. We all knew it was going to happen. You're not going to tune into a tape show if you already know it's going to happen. And so I think that's where they're missing the boat. If they would go live and have different production value and different wrestlers and different content. Oh, wait a minute. It's just a whole, never mind. It's called NXT.
I think that's a fair assumption and a fair read of the. I think that's a fair read of how things would go. Looking forward as far as news, what's been happening, this is a big loss for TNA, but a big gain for WWE is now that Evolve will be filming the WWE's Global Cruiserweight Qualifier. So it hasn't happened yet. I was reading just earlier today, but the tapings will take place on Evolve Television. So that's a big gain for WWE and for Evolve. My thought is that we will see ultimately some former TNA, maybe even guys that were former WWE like Loki, maybe Christopher Daniels and Frank Kazarian, if they're able to get them out of their contract, which is unlikely, but it's a wish, it's a dream. But we've got some younger talent that I think Triple H and William Regal are definitely paying attention to.
I thought there was something with Christopher Daniel, though. I thought he was leaving. I thought I read that. Maybe I misread something, but I thought he was leaving Ring of Honor.
Last comment that Daniels gave on his status, I suppose, was that he was in an exclusive contract with Ring of Honor. So unless that has expired recently, I'm still of the impression that he's not going to be going anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, because again, the group with him, Kazarian and Saban, I thought I read that one of them was on the way out or something.
Well, you notice, pardon me for cutting in, but you know that they just, on this week's episode of Ring of Honor Television, they had a team-to-team showdown between the Addiction, Kazarian and Daniels, and the Motor City Machine Guns, Shelley and Saban back together again.
Man, that'd be so cool on NXT.
It'd be just as cool in Ring of Honor. What the hell are you smoking?
No, it's definitely cool on Ring of Honor. I'm not putting it down at all. All I'm saying is I would love to see them with American Alpha or the Revival, just as two examples. I mean, I think their matches would be great. I've always been a fan of the Motor City Machine Guns. Actually, I can remember when Saban and Kazarian were in a feud for the nickname of the Future, way back when TNA was doing weekly pay-per-views.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, and that was what made me a fan of both guys, because they were phenomenal workers even back then.
I'll agree with that. I do like the Motor City Machine Guns. However, I will have to admit that for me that was kind of a spoiler because I hadn't watched last week's episode yet.
Okay, we're even.
So apparently earlier in the evening, and I apologize, Eddie. I saw the production chat, but I didn't get an opportunity to hear it. Apparently, Eddie was very vocal earlier this evening, guys, about actively avoiding spoilers, and I know that he generally does, but because of the newsworthiness, so to speak, of the exits and the changes, I certainly felt it was worth the effort to put it out there for us tonight. Sorry, Eddie.
And see, my thing about the TNA spoilers is I would have to wait till the end of April to let the world know what happened, and by then my old brain would have forgotten and moved on to something else.
And Brian would have come on our show going, "Oh my God, guys, guess what happened?"
Oh my God, I knew this 6 weeks ago, but I forgot. Oh.
Hey, here's a bit of another spoiler. Not really, though, because it's made the rounds as far as news sheets, dirt sheets, whatever you want to call them today. Stan Hansen confirmed for the Hall of Fame. He should be announced this coming Monday night.
Yeah.
It's about time.
The tiny wanger is going in the Hall of Fame.
I can't think of a more...
Dookie.
I keep telling you that was Hogan. Why you keep doing it? Why, Rob?
Because it's a good line.
It is. Probably the best line of that stupid movie. Not as mad as the Ultimate Warrior died, don't you?
You know what? In honor of Stan, we should try and hashtag I smell Dookie and see if we can get it trending worldwide.
Our segment for this week, hashtagging with Corner to Corner. This week's hashtag is I smell Dookie. I can't believe I just said that.
Or you can make it hashtag TNA smells Dookie.
No. I'm picking on the less fortunate.
That's mean.
Can you guys think of a more aggressive villain than Stan Hansen back in the day?
Brody.
Okay.
Yeah,
Brody.
Sheik, Abdullah.
Yeah, definitely Abdullah.
Now, I learned about Stan Hansen late. You guys were well aware of him, and I learned about him late in my fandom, I suppose, a couple years down the road after WrestleMania 4. And then he debuts in WCW and beat the ever-loving snot out of Lex Luger to win the U.S. title. One of my favorite memories of Stan Hansen, by the way, was him beating the crap out of Lex Luger.
And that was a tame version of Stan Hansen.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely a toned down, yeah.
Like his AWA Stan Hansen was world class. It was just, I mean, that was just synonymous with you getting your ass beat.
I mean, the thing about Stan is you really got to be a tough guy to put a big old chaw of chew in your mouth and be able to wrestle
with it in there.
Yeah. Not only that, but keep it like in there so that by the end of the match, you've done spit all over somebody and there's nothing they can do about it.
I was just thinking about the people who have to use the ring after him.
That was so nasty, too. That was back before they used to, like, roll away the one top mat and put it on a new one. Ugh. Well, you know what, folks? Don't spit your chaw out just yet. It's time for our first break of the evening. Ting. When we come back, we will continue to talk about Stan Hansen and his induction into the Hall of Fame. We'll go over some more news and opinion right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. For Corner to Corner, we'll be right back. Hello again, everybody, and this is Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Radio for the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Join us every Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with myself, Rob Hefner, and Brian Taylor as we bring you our thoughts and feelings on the world of professional wrestling and everything in between. As my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week. We look forward to seeing you. Thanks again for listening to the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
The To Be Determined show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Runner, Fast Eddie Lane, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here, live, every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, BeyondRingside.com.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Lane, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
This thing on?
Yes.
1, 2. Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome back to Corner to Corner. The triple threat is still here, still standing. Hashtag we smell dookie, or I smell dookie, depending. Want to give a quick shout out to Heel Will Mahoney, at Heel Will Mahoney on Twitter, for throwing the old like our way. Appreciate it. Glad to see one of our users and listeners is spreading the good word. Thank you, Will.
Notice, guys, how he put the word dookie and spreading the good word all in the same sentence.
We try to spread it evenly around.
Are we spreading the word or the dookie?
Both.
Well, if we were talking about TNA, I mean, that could really apply. Oh, it's okay. Come on. They've got at least a few more months on their contract. They'll be okay.
You know how many T-shirts Brian has? Hey, come on.
For TNA?
None. I've none. However, again, I will say that my experience at a TNA show has been better than some of the WWE shows.
I will agree.
I mean, I've met Kurt Angle, Bobby Roode, some of the shows in Charlottesville we've seen. Who was it? Booker T versus Sanjay Dutt. I think it was a tag team match that was very entertaining.
Now, that didn't happen to be the same show that a certain person stood us up at, was it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It was.
If I remember correctly, I was laid up with a concussion and vertigo. If we're going to put it all out there.
No.
Yes.
You got the wrong show.
You got the wrong show.
Because you backed down at the last minute, and I had to get somebody else to go.
Yeah.
Gave away free ticket. Here, let's go. Come on.
Ice-capades is what you were thinking about, Stan.
Yeah.
Ice-capades? Ice-capades.
Got to meet Angelina Love and Victoria.
Well, clearly I was on the losing end of the deal.
Oh, yeah. You lost. Mm-hmm. You lost. But, yeah, that was something. I don't know if they still do because I just haven't had the heart to go see them in their death knell.
Their current state.
Yeah, but, they used to, they would have the good guy wrestlers come out, and you had a chance to talk to them for a couple of minutes, and you could get autographs from them, and the big star there would allow you to climb in the ring and get a picture for a certain price. They also
AJ
autographs during intermissions that, you could go meet them outside at some of the vendor tables. It was definitely, to me, more of a smaller field than the WWE, but I guess they just couldn't maintain.
It's a tough business. If you don't make the right call at the right time, it really comes back to bite you, and they're seeing it an awful lot nowadays. Maybe they recover. Who knows? Maybe they dig themselves out of this deep ditch they're in. Who knows? Folks, when we left you, we were talking about the upcoming announcement for a Hall of Fame induction for the one and only Stan the Lariat Hansen, talking about just some of the memories we have of Hansen and some of his matches itself. One of the matches I can remember, here's one for the vault, Hulk Hogan and Stan Hansen at New Japan, which surprisingly was a lot more technical than you would think for either guy.
Well, I don't know if I would say that about Stan, because Stan did do a lot over in New Japan.
Right.
And I understand that his, work as far as being the roughneck, guy that would just go in there and beat you up. But I would imagine he was probably more than that, as far as just being in that federation to begin with. I imagine he probably had to have some technical knowledge to pass muster over there.
Well, they even said Hogan, when Hogan was in Japan, it was a different Hogan than we ever saw in the States. That's what I've always been told.
Oh, I'm sure, because they probably made him do 7 moves as opposed to 5.
There's footage out there of Hogan back in '93 doing an enziguri. Could you imagine Hogan getting that high up in the air?
I don't. Has he? Anybody ever seen him do a drop kick? Anybody remember one?
I don't think I've ever seen him do that.
Was that above? Was that before or after hip surgery 3.0? Or
probably well before then. So,
but
well, you got to remember that Stan Hansen is also the guy that knocked the eye out of the socket of one Big Van Vader.
Well, I think it's just Stan going into the Hall of Fame is just another tip of the hat that they're finally doing to the other genres and the other federations of days gone by, which is way overdue.
Yeah, I'll agree. There are a lot of, again, this is my opinion. I've voiced it quite regularly that there are a lot of other quality wrestlers out there that deserve to be in there more than some of the other guys. And hopefully that philosophy will carry through to the following years, and he'll have the makings of a quality Hall of Fame.
I mean, just imagine if they put all the Hall of Famers from this year in a room. You got Stan Hansen, Sting, the Fabulous Freebirds, looking across the room at the Godfather.
Maybe they had a deal in the back with the Godfather at some point.
I don't know. Again, to me, the Godfather I think he could go in. Probably should go in. But with the deck being stacked, this may not have been the right year. That's just me. I mean, again, I'm not going to say that he shouldn't be in there, but I just don't see how he stacks up to the other guys in no way, shape, or form. Although, pimping ain't easy, so.
He has the right to censor, so.
I saw a rumor. Maybe you guys have heard this.
And this is the nation.
Nation, a nomination. Did you guys see the rumor in reference to one Velvet Sky?
That she gave birth? Oh, no.
That's Angelina Love.
Angelina Love, yeah.
Yeah, no. Congrats to Miss Angelina Love, by the way. Awesome for her.
Her boyfriend, husband.
Davey Richards.
The Wolves, yeah.
Yep. Now, the report is that apparently Velvet Sky has been contacted by the WWE.
Ooh, tell me more.
And apparently, well, I don't think this is really a big shock. Apparently, Bubba Ray, her boyfriend, is really the one sounding the charge to bring her over.
Could we see pigeons on Monday night?
Whew,
Would they allow the pigeons to come out and play?
I do hope so. Because of all of the knockouts, women's wrestlers, divas, I gotta say, there's a special place in all of our hearts, collectively, I think, for one Velvet Sky. And I think she would actually do really well in WWE.
Yeah, see, and we've had this discussion before. I think, though, if you bring in Velvet, you have to snatch up Madison Rayne and Angelina Love when you have the opportunity and put the beautiful people together for the whole world to see and just let them beat the holy snot out of the rest of the divas.
I'm in favor.
Divas.
I vote yes.
Yeah, the divas, not like Charlotte and Becky Lynch and all that. The Brie Bellas, the Naomi's, that type. We really need a good tail whooping.
Yeah. Well, you could have the beautiful people versus. There's a match for you: the beautiful people versus the 4 horsewomen of the WWE.
I approve.
Well, but you only have 3 beautiful people.
They're plenty beautiful for me.
Well,
is that not what we're talking about?
Well, technically, right now you only have 3 horsewomen because I don't foresee them bringing Bayley up until they solidify the Divas division. Because
I think you got to keep some. You got to keep some talent. You naturally have to hold some talent down in order for next to stay what it is.
Because there's no divas there ready.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. You can't if you bring Bayley up, then what really do you have on next as far as divas? And Emma. Okay, so you have Emma. You got one more.
And who's The Rock's cousin?
Nia Jax.
Yeah, future Hall of Famer Nia Jax.
I gotta say, I'm not sold on Nia Jax. She's a monster, but I mean, she's no Awesome Kong, for example.
However, she's got the bloodline, and apparently that's all you need.
Eddie is on the money with this next one, though. Asuka is a tremendous talent, and she's actually scary with how good she is.
Yeah, possibly. But...
Ooh, John Cena has a show on Fox.
What's that called? American Grit or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently that was what he was filming while he was away with his shoulder injury.
Hey, why not? If you're hurt.
Got nothing else to do.
And it's not like they're going to tell him no.
No, I mean, they're not going to tell him no. If he got signed to do a movie next week, they'd probably tell him yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree.
So, we know that TNA has seen their struggles. We know that WrestleMania is just around the corner. We know we've got all of these different things happening in the wrestling world. Another bit of good news, Lucha Underground renewed for Season 3, which is a great moment for them. If you haven't caught in or bought in to Lucha Underground, you're missing the boat. Really some awesome action there.
Oh yeah, they will do some crazy stuff that will just leave you in awe that a human could like move that way. It's crazy. I enjoyed the first season. I'm a little behind on the second, but I'm glad they did get a third one. Now I just have to find the right channel so I can get it in English and not Spanish, so I can really enjoy it.
Well, the commentary on El Rey through Comcast, most of their providers, is in English. Now, the network itself, a good majority of it is in Spanish, but from what I've seen, the commentary was in English.
Not the one I'm recording off of DirecTV.
Dang.
It is in Spanish, and a lot of times you just got to turn down the volume and just watch it and enjoy it.
That's a bummer because Matt Stryker and Vampiro are excellent on commentary.
Mm-hmm. Again, maybe I got the wrong time slot or what, but you know, it is enjoyable at least to watch it in Spanish, to listen to the way they communicate and get excited a whole lot more than some of these, you know, American announcers. But the stuff they do, I don't know how they survive some of that stuff.
It's good to see a competitor like John Morrison finally find a place that he's comfortable and also able to shine on his own right.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing I find interesting too is they have no problem with women wrestlers wrestling men wrestlers, and then also the women wrestlers winning the matches. And it's, you know, they enjoy it for the action as opposed, and nobody gets all butthurt over it. So,
well, I mean, look at Eva Lise. That's a great example of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a couple of them that the women will get the pinfall or the women will beat the men outright, and you know, nobody's getting butthurt over it. And damn it, he's writing stuff too fast for me to read.
It's an ongoing discussion between Rob and Eddie there in the production chat. Rob, what's your thoughts on Lucha Underground?
I think it's amazing, just some of the matches I've seen, especially that spot that I watched when I was at Brian's house that one day where, was it Morrison went from the top of the building on the one side of the ring into the ring?
Oh, that was Angelico.
Yeah, that's who it was. Literally, I mean, he's what, 20 some odd feet in the air and jumps off of that and lands halfway in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, that man's got no fear. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how they continue to deliver in such a high caliber match. And Eddie, you'll appreciate this. Lucha Underground successfully, every single episode, avoids spoilers. Every single time. I don't see spoilers out there for it. So when I see Lucha, it's all new to me. It's all live.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing too, I mean, the owner in season 1 or general manager, whatever.
Oh, Dario Cuerto, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even not being able to understand him, he was so over the top, and such just a, you know, my kind of villain, that it was really nice to see that happen. As far as opposed to seeing Triple H and Stephanie, you know, this guy was he is pure evil and exactly what you don't want in a boss.
Makes the heel, the villain authority figure really stand out. Did you see him on the Super Bowl commercial?
No, I don't remember the Super Bowl because to me that Super Bowl was one of the worst Super Bowls in a long time.
It hurt my heart, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Can I jump in for a second?
Sure.
Dario Cueto, I have said this from season 1, episode 1, has played the perfect antagonist authority figure. He makes Eric Bischoff in the NWO and Mr. McMahon from the corporation and the corporate ministry seem like small change. And yes, I said that. Due to the simple fact that Cueto, depending on the storyline that is currently running, if he is working with other antagonists or protagonist characters on the show, knows his lines, his material for those individuals is absolutely incredible, because he knows when to turn from horns showing to chicken poop at the blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that I've always said that an antagonist authority figure always needs to be able to do. Whereas Eric Bischoff would bow up and go, "You're not going to mess with me or I'll fire you." Dario Cueto knows how to go, "No, now hold on, we can talk about this."
Eddie Lane with his Latin accent.
There you go. It's one of many that I don't profess to have. I remember last year when they were putting together who had the talismans or the medallions for the Gift of the Gods ladder match to determine who would get the Gift of the Gods belt. And you had everybody else who had been in matches, and then all of a sudden Big Zeke comes into the office. But Cueto starts talking about a match for the medallion, and Zeke just goes, "Well, I think I'll just take this right here." And Cueto just goes, "Well, that could have worked too." I mean, I just thought that was ultimately hilarious the way he did that. And like I said, I hate the fact that I haven't seen him that much this season, but the fact of the matter stands for me, he is one of the best characters on wrestling and sports entertainment television, period.
Well, the other thing that strikes me about Lucha Underground is there's like a supernatural element to it that it really puts it in the soap opera category for me. However, the action and the acting is really good that you move past that stuff and you watch it, and again you're in awe. Some of the stuff that they'll do that American federations won't do, can't do, haven't even thought of doing yet. And, you got to Lucha, I think, there was speculation they may not come back after the first season. But yet they managed to get season 2 and season 3. So they're definitely on the right path.
Which begs the question, is it more beneficial for a promotion like TNA to do seasons and keep it as much under wraps as possible and release them as they're available? In other words, instead of doing a weekly program taping months on end, why wouldn't they just do what Lucha has done and in the off season, quote unquote, have them tour?
To me, though, Lucha is almost like an ECW. You know what I'm saying? It's so new, so fresh. I don't think the audience wants to spoil it. Whereas TNA, no offense to Dixie Carter, she probably never should have gotten on TV. She never should have hired Hogan and Bischoff. They should have never been on TV. But they have a very good product, and unless they're stealing cell phones and administering serums that make them forget what's going on, the fans are doing it. The fans are the one not posting spoilers.
They got the tool for Men in Black.
Yeah, I mean there must be a respect with that audience, who, just like ECW, is a very small audience, probably a very loyal audience, that they're just not going to spoil it for the rest of us.
I got a good one for you, cutting in for one hot second. There is a difference between, I don't know Lucha Underground's procedures, but you will see people do it most of the times, but it's only one or two that'll do it from a WWE show. As far as TNA goes, well, as far as Ring of Honor goes, TV tapings, you still pay to get in. WWE, pretty much, you pay to get in. Impact, with the exception of the UK crowd, you pay to get in. So if you're down in Orlando, well, I didn't pay to see this. I don't care. I'll just go and send this over to Meltsy Poo and over to Wade Keller and all these other dorks. I'm going to be cute on the internet. Whereas if you pay to get into a show, the traditional logic is, screw you, I paid to get in. Watch the thing yourself.
I think that's valid. I mean, I think there's a lot of importance to being able to have the respect for the promotion that you're viewing and give them the opportunity to present it on their program. I really do. And Brian's got a good point there as well. With the amount of respect that the audience shows, as well as you, Eddie, with the amount of respect the audience shows to Lucha, it does speak volumes for the amount of disrespect or disdain that they have for TNA. We're coming up on the top of the hour here. As we go into our second break of the evening, come back from that, we're going to be talking about the injury bug that continues to hit WWE in the road to WrestleMania and how it's impacting them. Maybe some of the positives that we've seen out of this, especially this past Monday night. We'll be back with you right here in a couple moments on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com. For Corner to Corner, we'll see you in a minute. This just in, we are back from our break. That's right, we're back here on Beyond Ringside Radio Network for Corner to Corner. Glad to have everybody on board tonight. It's been an interesting week and an entertaining night. Hashtag I smell dookie.
Yes, we haven't gotten canceled yet.
So, you lose! I'm curious. Whoa, hey there. That's not nice.
What?
Somebody just said we lose.
Good day, sir!
Hey, we win at life, damn it. Oh, wow. So, guys, congratulations to Bray Wyatt for making his return. But did you guys even know that he was injured?
No, but I guess that explains Roadblock for that little debacle. That was Brock Lesnar versus the Wyatt family that didn't really do much of nothing.
The Luke Harper beating minute?
Yeah. So here's a question, though. With the look that Harper gives, do they take a chance of separating him again from the Wyatt family?
No.
No?
I say at this point, you keep him with the Wyatts. You build him up. And they were better, they were stronger together. I mean, when they had them going for the tag titles and Bray Wyatt losing every main event at a pay-per-view for the last couple months,
Poor Bray.
They were, that's the storyline they got. I mean, he has the loudest pop of anybody in that federation that doesn't have a title. He gets more pop than your main event at WrestleMania will. I guarantee you.
I agree with you there. The WrestleMania main event of Triple H and Roman Reigns, it's going to be interesting to hear the crowd reaction at WrestleMania. But Bray Wyatt, if he's in attendance, if he's in action at WrestleMania, the reaction is going to be huge for him.
All right, Stan. So I told you the other day, I think Rob mentioned that he had seen it. Did you get a chance to see Bray's Something Wicked This Way Comes promo?
No, but I did want you guys to talk about that because I want to be brought up to speed.
All right, so basically it's just Bray that I remember. It's just Bray. The screen's a little bit darker. And basically he's letting the entire wrestling world know that there's something big on the horizon. He uses the line, something wicked this way comes. And he pretty much makes the announcement to the entire world that you better run for your life. And it was a very, very good promo. One of the better ones I've seen so far this year. So I'm interested to see what happens with that.
I agree. I mean, it was a promo very reminiscent of the old, when they would do a promo to build up a wrestler coming, You know, they would do those vignettes, and then you're like, oh, who is this? Who is this? And then, you know, so it's only a matter of time that they've got to stop slamming Bray Wyatt and push him. I mean, the only way they're going to get the main event to have any more pop at WrestleMania is if they accidentally play Bray's music before Roman's.
Wow, that would suck for old Roman.
You know,
I mean, that's something that could happen to him. They've done everything else to the guy. Why not play someone else's entrance music?
See, I mean,
how would that would suck? I would even feel bad for Roman. Maybe that's what they do. Maybe they play Bray's music so the entire world finally gets in Roman's corner. And
when he cries in the corner because it's not his music.
Because I'd have been like, "Oh, that is so messed up."
Screw you guys.
Yeah. I mean, up the stairs with the fans, like, "I'm ready, here we go." And as he goes to pull the curtain back, the lights go out, the fireflies come out, and there's Bray. It would crush the kid would be crushed. I would be crushed.
I don't know if you guys have heard the latest, but apparently Roman Reigns will no longer be entering through the crowd.
Wow.
You realize how long it's going to take at Dallas Stadium?
Well, that may be part of the reason.
That is true. That's a big stadium.
You remember, was it WrestleMania 18, the long one?
Yeah, they hit his music, and they'd have to have 3 more matches while he's walking.
Well, look at the Silver Dome when they had to come out in Pontiac, where they had to come out in the little carts.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Where the Warrior refused to do it and got to the ring, and he was already blown up.
Yep.
Blowed up quick.
Gassed.
See, I've always wanted to be the sound guy for the WWE. Because, you're sitting there, Vince isn't there. How cool would it be to hit, like, somebody's ring music that, the fans want to see, but they're not there. Like, go into a break and all of a sudden hit CM Punk's, "Did you hear the noise?"
Yeah, you probably wouldn't be sound guy for long.
Yeah, you'd be fired, but let me just tell you, Dallas Stadium would explode.
Yeah.
Punk's theme hits, even as a mistake, that place would go just nuts.
But it's like we used to say that Hogan's old theme, if that hit one day, everybody would go nuts. Now it's just like, oh, poor guy.
And it's indicative of what the condition is of Hulk Hogan nowadays. I mean, Real American hit back in the day, and people went just ballistic, regardless of what he was going to do. And then, of course, in his later points, as Voodoo Child would hit, people would go nuts. Now, you hear Real American, it's like a collective eye roll from the fans.
Well, to me, Hogan is now in that illustrious period of his career where he's more of a novelty act than in the 80s and even 90s. Remember the stint when he had the mask and he would pull it up and show the crowd.
Oh, Mr. America, yeah.
And pull it back down. Yeah, I kind of think that helped him get into that novelty act type situation. So I'm not saying he's not still popular and over, but to me, he can go on the shelf now.
Yeah, I think, for every guy, they have their moment where they kind of reach as far as they're ever going to go. And unfortunately, they head down that spiral, back down the mountain, so to speak. And I think you're right. I think Hogan's hit that point. A guy that for a while I thought was headed towards the twilight of his career has seen a recent rejuvenation, and that's one Chris Jericho. The other injury that we've seen recently was to Neville during Monday Night Raw, where he apparently broke his ankle and his shin. Some are stating it's just a really bad sprain, but he's slated to be out for 3 to 4 months. Huge loss with that. But give credit where it's due to Chris Jericho for calling it on the fly and recovering some of that heel heat that he desperately needs in his match against AJ Styles.
Yeah, to me, I guess he was destined to lose anyway. But to pull the ending off almost without like a second thought, and then to go into the instance that you're going to get AJ to come out of the crowd, I thought that was really good, and it was very seamless, and you can tell he's a veteran in order to pull it off.
His interaction with Charles Robinson was tremendous, and if you can catch the audio, it's still up on YouTube. The interaction between him and Charles Robinson was completely off script, and apparently Robinson was pissed. Basically, Neville goes down, he goes for a cover, kicks out. Robinson trying to stop the match, thinking the injury has happened, so he's just calling it. Jericho pushes him, and I mean just a violent shove backwards. Robinson responds in kind, don't effing touch me, blah, 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 just screaming at him. And then you hear Jericho saying, ring the bell, disqualify me, make me look like a bastard. And it was perfect. I mean, it really, really was. I feel bad for Neville. It's an awful injury for him, especially being that he really has done well on the main roster. And it's a loss, yet another loss to the roster as far as potential talents going forward, especially knowing that the Monday after WrestleMania is so huge. I mean, what could they possibly do for the Monday after WrestleMania now with all of these guys out hurt?
Golden truth.
I think it's all going to depend on what was found online as far as the tickets for Baltimore.
That's right.
And the storyline that may play out. Will you see a celebration of Shane McMahon? Or do you get Vince's celebration? I think that's going to carry you through some of these injuries, and eventually Cena will come back, Seth will come back, Randy will come back, and but whatever storyline is going to take place after WrestleMania is going to carry you through some of these injuries. It does stink for Neville because I watched that injury a couple of times, and I just don't think an ankle is supposed to have been that way.
Pretty nasty looking injury, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, you can if you listen to the audio of the match, you can hear it once he goes down beside the rope. I'm pretty sure it's Jericho that is like, is he hurt? Is he hurt? And somebody asked it like multiple times, is he hurt? And I'm pretty sure it's Jericho. But for his mind to move that fast, and get the match over so he can get out of there and then maintain his heat. That was pretty good for me, even though Neville got hurt.
Mm-hmm. It just shows you what kind of healed Chris Jericho's character can be. I think that was something missing when he would come out and he would be the fan favorite, or like to me, some of those painful New Day promos where he'd come out, and obviously the crowd is more into New Day than they are Chris Jericho. And,
I always liked Jericho when he ran his mouth. When he had that stupid little ponytail. Even in WCW when he would play the bad guy, when he just couldn't get no respect there at the end. I think he's a much, much better bad guy than he is a face guy.
And I think at this stage of his career, he's going to be hard-pressed to find a moment that can put him in a better light than his role as a heel. I think if he goes back to a babyface routine at this stage of the game, I just don't think people will buy in. I think that with Jericho, he knows what he's dealing with as far as what makes the crowd react, what gives them the best bang for their buck, so to speak.
Well, the other thing too, I think if Jericho and AJ can steal the show at WrestleMania, you're going to see a Jericho that you haven't seen since he won the title with Austin and The Rock. That type of Jericho, and I think that's what they need now more than ever. They need somebody that can step up, and be the guy for him. And I think Jericho can do it.
Point.
Monday night was a good show for Raw. I think they had a good outing. They're getting closer to WrestleMania. Shane McMahon, you could see the nerves setting in, standing face to face with The Undertaker. In his promo, just didn't. It could have been so much better. It definitely came off flat, in my opinion. But to me, it was definitely a case of Shane having a lot of jitters.
Well, I think he does. Doesn't he apologize or address the universe like the next day or something? I read.
He did. He went on Twitter basically explaining that the dead man is even more terrifying in person, which, in salute of kayfabe, I think he did a good job on that. I think that it's hard for anybody, much less a guy like Shane McMahon who just hasn't been in the public eye for so long. It's difficult for him to transform that into a positive in the middle of a promo.
Yeah, correct. 'Cause, I mean, he did screw up in multiple spots.
Yeah.
However, it is Shane, so I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass in hopes that come WrestleMania time, they can put together some semblance of a good match.
You know, one of the things that was really good about Monday Night Raw was the match between the WWE Heavyweight Champion Triple H and Dolph Ziggler. What a great contest between those two.
I think it was a main event of Monday Night Raw that we had missed for weeks. It was actually a match that you didn't think. I mean, obviously, this close to Mania, as a fan, you know they're not going to drop the world title to Dolph Ziggler, but it showed that Dolph Ziggler is capable of going against the main event people of the because I think there's a lot of people out there that may have forgot that he is a 2-time world heavyweight champion, because he has been squandered into the pit of push, shall we say, for so many years. But Monday was a good match, I thought.
And to me, it was interesting that would be the guy to basically come out and tell the Authority to go suck it, that it would be Dolph and not somebody else.
Yeah. You've threatened to fire me over everything. You threatened to fire me even this week over a tweet. Really? I don't care. like, come on, man. You don't have a match on WrestleMania. Don't be getting too mouthy.
Well, something tells me he'll be in the Battle Royal.
Yeah, he'll be on the pre-show.
He'll be on the panel. He won't even be in the ring. He'll be on the panel.
Well, I was watching Ring of Honor, and does anybody realize that Ring of Honor will be in Dallas, Texas, April 1st and 2nd?
It's interesting when WrestleMania is in an area that the amount of companies that start diving in to all of the events in the surrounding area. So Ring of Honor, Evolve, generally speaking, Chikara usually does one. Especially like when they were down in Atlanta, they had a ton of different events surrounding WrestleMania just because of the amount of people that are there. That's a huge benefit, but it also is interesting to see how the fan base reacts in that. Global Force will be down there as part of WrestleCon for the 1st and 2nd. What are your thoughts on that? When companies are putting on a show around the area for WrestleMania, you think that's good in general for the business, or do you think it's a negative?
To me, if they're going to put on a quality product, it's good for business. Because, I mean, let's take Dallas, for instance. The stadium is 100,000 people plus stadium. And I think there's probably room for a couple of federations to get a little big payday, out of just being in the area.
I mean, it's just business. You think about it. It's just like, back in the movie industry, when you got one movie coming out, and then what happens? Oh, yeah, a production company throws out another movie of the same exact type, with little tweaks in the storyline. So, I mean, I think it also gives the fans, some maybe more affordable entertainment in the area.
Thank you.
So,
And the other thing, too, let's not forget it was the WWE that tried to crash a WCW event. So they can suck it as far as I'm concerned on that as well.
On the night when they knew Eric Bischoff wasn't even in the arena, supposedly. Somebody tipped them off to that, by the way. Now, if I could, please, what I'd like to go ahead and say is, because I remember last year when they were at Santa Clara and Vince had a deal cut with this, the community leaders, I believe it was, the city council, that no other pro wrestling companies may use any municipal or city-owned building inside the area where, in a parameter where the stadium was located. Cheesy move by Vince, but by the same token, it did not work. Now, I put in the production chat, variety is the spice of life. You had people who were going to Dallas, Texas to see a WWE product. True. But you don't know how many of those people are genuinely going to see WrestleMania. You have some people who are just going for fan access. You have some people who are going just for the Hall of Fame. And lo and behold, when you got companies like Global Force, and yes, since they started putting on live events, they went from being a marketing and production company to a pro wrestling company. So I'm back off that horse now for a few months. You've got Ring of Honor that's going to be there. You've got Chikara. You've got so many organizations that are going to be holding live events down in that neighborhood, in that area. Now, this is something that I've got to say about Dallas as opposed to Santa Clara the year before. Dallas is a top 12, if my numbers are still correct, top 12 television market, top 20 radio market. That means you are going to have people all around. The case point scenario, I think Atlanta's still in the lower top 10 at 6.5 million people. Dallas has more than that because it's the Dallas-Fort Worth areas. If you don't have every event possible to get your name out on the biggest weekend, Vince knows, Triple H knows, Stephanie knows that every company in creation is trying to plan something, i.e. WrestleCon, for that weekend around the Dallas area. Vince is not going to approach the mayor of Dallas and say, well, since I'm coming to AT&T, I think it would be an ultimate gesture of professionalism if you disallowed any other pro wrestling or sports entertainment company from using a city-owned venue in this market. You know what he'll tell you? Love you, Vince. Suck it. I got a chance to sell out. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You got a chance to sell out the Municipal Auditorium. You got a chance to sell out how many different venues where, and I'm sorry, like I said, you've got people who won't be going to WrestleMania, whether Vince chooses to believe that or not. You've got people who are coming just for fan access. You got people who are coming just for the Hall of Fame. You got some people who don't give a rat's ass about Mania, but they like everything else that's going on around it. That's why some of these other shows are going to have hopefully, I pray to God, hopefully, blockbuster weekends.
Well, to me, what would be funny, too, is if some of these federations decided to stick it to Vince on his biggest night and buy up tickets to WrestleMania and then plant the wrestlers in every camera angle conceivable and have them in like a Global Force t-shirt or Ring of Honor t-shirt, just to be like, here, Vince, here's a little taste of your own medicine. Stop being an idiot. That would be funny.
Could an outside promotion get away with jumping the rail at WrestleMania?
No.
Yeah, no. But I think you could probably plant the Briscoes in the stands with the sign or something. And it would take a little bit of time for somebody to recognize them. But I think they'd be recognized and, you'd make a name for Ring of Honor. Kind of what they used to do. They used to do that stuff all the time.
Yeah, that's also the ultimate weekend for every so-called website and podcast and radio station to try to get somebody to get in there with a cheap plug sign. Now, of course, I'm not above that. I've got a couple of people in Texas I know. If I knew for a fact that they would carry a Beyond Ringside Radio Network sign, the BRRN or something, or ProWrestlingRadio.net sign in there, Heck yeah, I'd shoot him $20. I don't give a damn. Look,
But
if we could
I'm pretty sure there were wrestlers that basically got suspended because they accidentally showed up on somebody else's camera because they were watching the show.
Oh, yeah.
That happened to the Highlanders that used to work for WWE.
Yep.
Yeah, but why not try and plant people on each side of the ring so that there's no camera angle he can film a show without catching one of them?
Here's the trick, though. Here's the trick. Case point scenario. Brian, you're running a show Saturday night before Mania, April 2.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a show going on. And I'm Vince. If my Hall of Fame banquet is over and people are out and it's like, I know your show is going on, hey, Jericho, see if you can get in. Make some phone calls. See if you can just meander down by outside the rails, but down by the ringside area for just a second. See if they'll catch you on camera. Here's the flaw in that logic. If you are doing your show and you're taping for iPay-per-view, VOD, or DVD release, and my person is on the outside of the rail in the fans, there's nothing anybody could do about that. That's basically my show showing your show support. That's the way it would be interpreted. Oh my God, Jericho was down there. You know how much credibility that would give your show? And God help me if it was somebody else on the A list, on the top tier. What if it was Cena?
Cena's the kind of guy that would do it. I think Cena would do it if he had an opportunity.
No.
He's just busy schedule and all, but I think he'd do it.
No. Sami Zayn would do it. Kevin Owens would do it. Oh my God, can you imagine can you imagine the pop if Kevin Owens were to walk into and grab a seat and some popcorn? If it was Ring of Honor, everybody would be going bat nuts crazy. If it was Evolve, even just as loud.
Especially for Sami Zayn.
Oh yeah. If you were to have Zayn on one side of the ring and Owens on the other side of the ring, you would have people screaming, "We want to see it."
Yeah, exactly. And hey, we got to go into our last break of the evening here. We've run a tad over.
You can't hush us up.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to count anybody down, but we do have to take our last break of the night.
When you come back, Stan will be gone.
Wow. Okay. I guess I've been fired. So, hey, this is my last run, so screw everybody. All y'all. We'll be right back on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, right here for Corner to Corner.
No matter how many times you ask, Stan, the answer's no.
Welcome back to Corner. We're finally in the home stretch of the evening. We're glad to be here, glad to have you. And if you're just now tuning in, where in the hell have you been? No, really. Seriously. What are you doing?
I don't know, Rihanna. Where have you been?
She's working.
Bye, Felicia.
Oh, man. It's been a interesting week in professional wrestling, to say the least. When we left you, we were talking about some of the events in the surrounding area for WrestleMania weekend. WrestleCon, which is a big event. Ring of Honor's got a couple shows. Eddie, I know you've got the rundown. Why don't you go ahead and give it to us?
Okay, here's a short version. WrestleCon 2015, yeah, there you go. The Super Show itself, Saturday night, April 2, at the Hyatt, the downtown Hyatt Regency Hotel. From there, already scheduled to appear Saturday night, April 2nd, bell time 8 p.m. Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, Rebby Sky, Pentagon Jr., Drago, Abyss, Trevor Lee, William Ospreay, Marty Spruill, Ricochet, Sammy Callahan, Jessica Havoc, Lance Storm, Joey Ryan, Colt Cabana, Chris Hero, Luke Hawx, Jeff Jarrett, Andrew Everett, Tessa Blanchard, A.R. Fox, Mike Bailey, Phoenix, Fireball, Aerostar, my favorite van, and a whole lot more. Matter of fact, and from what I understand, Kurt Angle is actually going to be making an appearance this year at WrestleCon. They're going to have shows on April 1, 2, and 3. Actually, let me double check my numbers on this one, because if I'm right, let me see, where are you? Right about here. WrestleCon will feature an expo area on both Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Wrestlers and vendors from around the world give you an opportunity to take pictures, obtain autographs from all of your favorites that are going to be there. A 39,000 square foot indoor space with over 100 vendor tables. They're going to have Q&As with some of your favorite stars in pro wrestling. I mean, folks, let me tell you something. If you've never been to WrestleCon, for everybody who is going to be in Dallas that weekend, get a ticket and go. From what I understand, for the Saturday Live Super Show, reserve seats sold out. General admission tickets are still available. WrestleCon Friday, tickets are $40, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And they moved it up an hour for the opening. Instead of 10 to 5, it's 9 to 5, according to their schedule. The second day, $40, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the convention. General admission for the Super Show, $40. And let me tell you something. It's going to be worth it. April 1st, you've got sessions, Q&As, and everything else with Scott and Steiner, Matt Stryker, Joey Ryan, Ricochet, Marty DeRosa, Road Warrior Animal. Colt Cabana's going to be doing his podcast from their, what's it called? The Watercolors of Wrestling. The Queens of Combat present QOC 10. Saturday, April 2nd, Divas Roundtable, Stacy Carter, Terry Runnels, Deborah McMichael, Jackie Haas. I would pay to get into that. Gimmick Tree Entertainment presents Cowboy James Storm for a Q&A. Conan will be there. Here you go. Gimmick Tree Entertainment presents WCW, Russo, and Ferreira. Oh, boy.
Sorry.
Let's see. 2 p.m. on Saturday.
Oklahoma!
Lex really. Lex Luger and Tully Blanchard on April 2nd for a Q&A. Lance Storm and Missy Hyatt will be there on Saturday the 2nd. Colt's going to do another Watercolors of Wrestling podcast. It's Art of Wrestling, I know. I just like having fun with Colt.
Happy trees.
Yeah, really. And unfortunately, for those who wanted to go to the Mania Moments brunch, those tickets are sold out. You'll be seated. You would have been seated with a wrestler at your table, chosen at random, but the following were scheduled to attend. That's about half, though. Animal, Lex Luger, Terry Runnels, Colt Cabana, Stacy Carter, Matt Stryker, Shane Helms, Missy Hyatt, Lance Storm, and Abyss. Oh, my God. That's just incredible. If you've never been to WrestleCon, find a way to get there, because it's going to be a lot of fun.
Wow.
Sounds like an exciting weekend, event, season for WrestleMania, for wrestling in general.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's an exciting time, man. I mean, WrestleMania season is always busy for wrestlers, promoters, you name it. It's, of course, busy for us here at Beyond Ringside Radio Network. But, when you look at the possibilities, man, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an interesting story to tell at the end of all of this, to see who came out on top as far as the regional promotions that benefit from their shows in the area. It'll be an interesting story to tell as far as how WWE has rebounded. Hopefully they have by this point. In lieu of all the injuries and challenges they've had building up their storyline. I mean, it doesn't get any more difficult than when you look at their main event, where Triple H is touted as the babyface by fans, and Roman Reigns can't buy a cheer.
That's what's the problem with the booking machine as it is right now. They say they're doing it for the fans, but, I mean, come on. How many months are you shoving Roman Reigns down people's throats? And they're just not buying it. I mean, it's getting as bad as Gilbert. But I think you see Roman Reigns take the title at WrestleMania, and I think you see what Triple H is doing. What Triple H does, he's trying to elevate that title and that match to WrestleMania's caliber. Because without Triple H with the belt at Mania, who would you have had face Reigns at WrestleMania?
I mean, I still stand by the belief that having Roman Reigns at WrestleMania in a title match against Triple H is detrimental. I think the only thing you could have done would have been maybe a rematch with Brock Lesnar, which I wouldn't mind seeing as long as the title's not on the line. I think the best benefit for Roman Reigns would have been to be outside of the main event. It's kind of a shame, but to your guys' point, as you've said multiple weeks in a row, at this point, I don't know if there's really any saving for him. You know, I don't think
Coco's available.
Benefit. Coco, beware.
Coco is available, so they could put Coco versus Roman, and then maybe put the Hall of Fame spot on the line or something. But I think Dean Ambrose and Triple H is a much better match for WrestleMania. But alas, what do I know?
Alas and alack.
Alas, that'd be Becky Lynch.
The last kicker.
Still a better match than Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
Amen.
Agreed.
See.
Y'all need to stop picking on that boy.
Who?
Roman Reigns. He can't help it.
Can anybody tell me how Triple H cut the side of his head?
I'm not certain if when he cut the side of his head, if it was from the trash can that Reigns threw, or when he, I guess, threw him into the table. I don't remember seeing him blade, so I don't know if it was a legit cut. But it was definitely Reigns is at his best when he's in that type of frame of mind, when he's going nuts, throwing people all over the place, and not talking. Really, it's what does him the most benefit.
Now, Stan,
sir,
I'm gonna come find you if at WrestleMania they put the title on him, and Monday night he comes out and plays the mute card. I'm gonna find you if they do that.
The mute card.
He becomes a Paul Heyman guy.
Oh, I think if he were to turn heel and go back to being Leaki and form like the Samoan dynasty kind of thing, that would be great.
God, stop it! Stop giving them ideas.
Well, it's not
sense.
It's not the first time they would have ripped us off, guys.
That is true. That is true. However, don't give them ideas about Roman Reigns.
Why can't I give them ideas, man?
Just don't do it.
Why?
I know you got man crush. Don't do it.
You know Dixie Carter's chomping at her bit. She's just waiting.
She's chomping?
I'm going to get Roman Reigns in a couple months.
Mm-mm. That would be terrible.
A main event in a bingo hall near you.
So, Shane McMahon and The Undertaker. And I want to talk about this because in our last few moments here tonight, my thoughts on...
Don't count me down.
We have 3 guys...
Our show's going forever.
...that are supposed to be somehow involved with WrestleMania. And we don't know their involvement yet. Steve Austin and The Rock are both supposed to be at WrestleMania. And both have publicly stated that they have a role there. But neither one are commenting as to what that would be.
Good.
Rob, what do you think they're going to do? Do you think they're involved in the Hell in the Cell match in some way, shape, or form?
I don't know if they will be, but in my opinion, there's no realistic way that Shane McMahon can beat Undertaker in Hell in the Cell by himself.
Okay.
I mean, granted, yes, the Undertaker is of age, but I mean that's his domain. But it'll be interesting to see because I think in typical WWE fashion, they're putting just like they did. They're doing Roman Reigns and they've done everything else. They're putting the deck stacked against them, so that everybody thinks it's a lost cause. But then, I don't know. I don't know if you see, the Undertaker turn on Vince and take the fall or what, but it would be very interesting.
Brian, where do you stand on this?
I mean, I could see some outside interference for Shane, but then I can also see Vince coming down the ringside, climbing in the cage, doing something to the Undertaker to piss him off, and the Undertaker just taking a dive just to see Vince lose. I mean, with the streak gone, this match is, to me, is up in the air as to what could happen. Because, again, the streak is no longer on the line, so to me, it could go either way with him.
I agree.
Back to you, Stan.
I think when we look at Steve Austin, the rumor was that Steve Austin was going to try to have a match in Texas, and they wanted him to somehow have a big send-off, his last match, so to speak. But what we haven't really seen is how they would pull that off. Austin has publicly stated that he doesn't want to do a send-off because, honestly, he doesn't feel he has anything left to prove. I think we would agree with that. I think that when we look at the value of having either guy involved with this match, it certainly it's going to bring the fans to their feet, but to Rob's point, there is no realistic reason why either one of these guys couldn't get involved, because there's no honest-to-God real reason that Shane McMahon should win at Hell in the Cell against The Undertaker. We would like to see it in the regard that we want to see what they can do with the potential, like the spoilers we saw as far as Monday Night Raw versus WWE, if in fact that happens. But there is also some talk, and I said three guys for a reason. There's a rumor that John Cena is not necessarily being honest about whether or not he's ready to come back. And there's a possibility he may have some involvement. Now, Cena was supposed to be the guy taking on The Undertaker at this year's WrestleMania. So this could be his opportunity.
To turn bad?
Would it be Cena turning bad if he interferes on behalf of Shane McMahon?
Not from a crowd perspective, but from a federation perspective, if you understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like the crowd will love it because, again, Shane will have won, but of course, on the other hand, Vince and the Authority would absolutely hate it. So to me, it would be one of those gray areas as far as, whoever he sided for would be the one that loved it and the other one would just simply hate it.
I mean, it's going to be tough to see a WrestleMania as far as imagining it. It's hard to imagine a WrestleMania without like John Cena and Randy Orton and all of that. With all of these guys out, we do know that NXT TakeOver has an event where Shinsuke Nakamura will be debuting. This could also be an opportunity for him, Finn Balor, someone of that ilk, that nature, to debut and possibly assist Shane McMahon as well.
The Balor Club.
I'd love to see that.
I mean, you still have Anderson and Gallows that are still... We know they're coming. We just don't know when or where, so maybe they could come into play.
Okay, you're the booker. You're the promoter. You're booking and how this match goes. Rob, how do you have Hell in the Cell play out?
Well, you have outside interference with, because you think if Shane's going to change, if they want to just, realistically make, Shane going to change the way the business is going to do it, and he's tired of people being held down, then your help's it's not necessarily going to come from a main eventer, but some of those people that are being held down, like your Dolph Ziggler or the Balor Club, these people that are new, and as Shane's out there fighting, then here comes those people to help him. And therefore you get the Monday Night Raw versus WWE Universe thing, is what I feel, to have him win.
I got to agree with that. I think that if you have the Balor Club debut, you're going to see the crowd come completely unglued, and that's a benefit to them wholeheartedly.
And I mean, I think it would be even if that happens, and then say they put Triple H over Roman Reigns to build up something else, you could have Triple H turn on Vince on Monday also, and say, hey, I've been running NXT for this purpose, and this purpose only was to put you out of business. But
Brian, it's your turn. How would you book it?
Oh, to me, if I have things lined up the way that that there's going to be a split come Monday night or whatever, I let Shane win, and I would whatever outside interference it took to have him win. But again, I'm not quite sure what their plans are after that. So, Vince's ego may take over, and no, we're not going to go through with that. But I would probably introduce. I don't know if I'd use Austin or The Rock for it. I would probably use somebody that's going to be on the roster if I'm going to pull a outside interference. Because if they interfere and they disappear, you're not going to get any, you're not going to get your chance for revenge, especially with Austin. So, because even if he has one more match, that's not going to be enough payoff for an interference at WrestleMania.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do with it. I mean, if you have The Undertaker win at WrestleMania, it is...
Knock it off. Get a room.
If you have The Undertaker win at WrestleMania, the possibility of just disappointing the crowd yet again is so huge. I have a hard time seeing Shane not winning this match. Eddie mentions in the chat here that it's probable that if you have Shane go over, that it negates Triple H going over Roman Reigns. That's true, which unfortunately would telegraph the next move, which means Reigns wins the title. The only thing I can see happening here is that Reigns would win the title, and yet Reigns would go to the Authority. Or to Triple H and Stephanie, whatever they call themselves in the post-WrestleMania time.
Then that makes no sense.
What's that?
That makes no sense.
I know, because they put him through hell,
yes.
But, stranger things have happened. We've seen Steve Austin turn when he had a 3-year feud with Vince McMahon.
Well, yeah, but also based off of the Baltimore after. Mm-hmm. If, again, there is a split, if he is the WWE champion, to me, he has to go with the WWE, whether he wants to or not. He's their champ. And then that would give Shane the ability, if they decide to split or whatever, to have his own champ and not have to worry about Roman Reigns.
Well, another thing I thought about was, with Vince's ego being what it was, this match being, as if he builds it important, what would be the chances that he puts this as the main event at WrestleMania, and Roman Reigns and Triple H are the match before? So then Triple H wins, sitting back in the locker room like, yeah, and then you have him on a monitor watching it as The Undertaker falls.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do. I do like the whole fantasy booker aspect of it. I think that with what we're seeing right now, the potential to have a big changing of the guard, so to speak, is there. Whether or not it happens, whether or not it goes into what we would like to see happen, it remains to be seen right now. I want to see something different. I think we all do. I think we want to see... What we really want to see out of this is we want to see the basic role that we're seeing played, we want to see it change. And I'd like to see it change more to the point I want to see something different. And I think a lot of fans want to see that same difference. They want to see something else happen.
I just think it's that it adds that little excitement in the wrestling world, especially WWE, the WWE universe, I should say. It adds a little excitement that's been missing of, oh my God, there is a chance that something might change, something might be different, and we'll see. It'll be built up, and then Undertaker will win, and then we'll be sitting here on Monday with Triple H standing in the middle of the ring going, ha ha ha, I told you.
Logical progression. And by the way, for everybody listening on the live side, welcome in. The Midnight Black Mass with Reverend Dan Wilson and Andrew Alexander will be kicking off in just a couple of minutes. Yes, hint. No, not hint. Dyslexia, fun so much. If you have...
In other words, Rob, shut up.
No. If you have... It's about to be Eddie, shut up. If you have Triple H and Reigns as the precursor for Hell in a Cell, which is the logical progression. If Hunter goes over, and considering the fact that Vince and Steph have been on their own in the battle with Shane, and Hunter's really been nowhere to hugely be found, although Steph has been in Hunter's corner, she's the one who pushed him into the title match with the match with Ziggler last Monday night on Raw. Notice the look he shot her. He's like, what am I doing? You sure about this? Okay, fine, I'll do it. You book the match, I'll do it. And then, but he's been nowhere to be found during the Shane-Vince interaction. He's been nowhere to be found during the Stephanie-Vince interaction. So if he were to go over with the title against Reigns, I would almost be willing to bet the farm that Shane goes over Taker, and an uneasy alliance between Shane and Triple H gets started to combat the $1 billion princess in her abuse of power and Vince McMahon. Hello, Family Feud. Ideas? Thoughts?
You're a bad man.
Not bad.
I think there's definitely room to see that. I think when we're looking at what we're looking at right now is just the potential for so many different types of changes that we're basically chopping at the bit. I mean, this is what we want to see. This is how we want to see it done, that kind of thing. And I for one, am hopeful, but I know a lot of fans are as well. It's really going to be an interesting thing to see. We got a few more weeks to go, a couple more weeks to go, but the biggest event before that point, Superman versus Batman next week. Cricket. Screw you guys.
Pretty much.
Way to bring me down, guys. Way to bring me down. Yeah.
For those who don't know, in the internet world, Stan has said he's doing 8 days of Superman, which means he's not changing his clothes for 8 days.
Unless
I thought it was his underoos.
I thought it was just in case he found a phone booth.
Wow. Why can't it just be that I'm, showing my loyalty to my favorite superhero? Why can't it just be that?
What it is randomly, when somebody makes a sound at his work, he jumps out of his cubicle and rips off his clothes and shows up his Halloween costume, runs down the hallway as security escorts him out of the building.
For me, the fun part of the whole scenario is, for as much as I'm ready to see Superman v. Batman Dawn of Justice, I can't help but always flash back to a cartoon strip that I saw on the internet many moons ago, where it's Superman and Batman, and Superman goes, your arch rival is a clown. And Batman goes, so? Yours is a rock.
Oh.
I saw something the other day. It had Batman versus Superman, the Battle of the Orphans.
Battle of the Orphans?
Yes.
Okay, that's funny. Well, wait a minute.
I still think Superman will somehow be the victor.
And then where the hell where's Shazam in all this? He was at a foster home.
Come on, Stan. You know it's going to be that Batman and Superman. Then they're going to team up against who?
Lex Luthor.
And because Justice League is coming out, so come on, man. Think ahead.
Justice League officially starts shooting in 3 weeks.
I think the big villain is going to be Apocalypse. You'll see him at the end. I think that'll be the big villain besides Doomsday.
Apocalypse, you mean Darkseid?
Oh, yeah, Darkseid. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Goddamn X-Men.
Yeah, because Apocalypse is Marvel.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Marvel, season 2 of Daredevil is out.
Shut up. Don't say it.
It's really good.
You little shit.
Hey!
I'm not going to give you any spoilers, man. It's a good...
Oh, yeah? That's what you told Eddie, and I'm pretty sure you've been blowing that one out the water all night.
Well, Brian, you know he's got to watch Daredevil to throw the FBI off of what he's normally watching.
I mean, come on, man. It's never can't be that bad.
On that note...
Folks, before we head off and do our thing, Eddie, do the rundown of the calendar, sir.
Let's take it home real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and break it down a little something like this as soon as I pull up the right damn window. Here we go. From this vantage point, live programming, actually tonight's programming will continue in just a couple of moments with the brand new edition of the Midnight Black Mass with Reverend Dan Wilson and Andrew Alexander. I tell you something, I really wish I could have been up in Rossville, Georgia last night for the finale of Empire Wrestling at their current venue. There's a lot of questions that are about to be answered, and hopefully Reverend Dan and Andrew will have all those answers in the upcoming episodes, possibly as early as tonight. Live programming will resume this coming Tuesday. Double play in place. GCW Radio Live, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time. And also, Beyond Ringside, Back to Basics. This Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. Slated to be joined this Tuesday night by professional wrestling star Gunner, the modern-day Viking. Will be joining yours truly on Back to Basics. He's slated to call in right around 10:15 Eastern Time. Continuing on, Wednesday the 23rd, the To Be Determined show, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. And from that vantage point, we're going to put a little question mark on the Shooters Gallery. Had a lot of fun this past Thursday night. May try to pull lightning in a bottle one more week. We may take it back to Saturday. I'm not sure yet. We're just going to play it by ear. Originally slated to be joined by pro wrestling star Ricky Reyes earlier this evening on Beyond Ringside Live. Unfortunately, Mr. Reyes was still in the air, physically, seriously, on an airplane, and was not able to call in. We are working to reschedule that interview for another point in time. Next Sunday is going to be a huge question mark. And, of course, that is March 27th, due to the fact that it will be Easter Sunday for a lot of us. So we're going to go ahead and play it by ear from this point. Like I said, we may try to work some things out. And also from that vantage point, show notes. Yours truly, from Beyond Ringside Live and Back to Basics, along with the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, and Clyde Braddock and Angie Nemesis from the To Be Determined show. All slated to be appearing with Global Championship Wrestling in Pell City, Alabama this Saturday night. Yep. The 27th, Saturday, I'll get my dates right in a minute, at the Pell City Civic Center. So for our friends in and around the southeastern U.S., come on over to Pell City next Saturday night. 26th, I'm sorry, I knew I'd screw it up again. GCW Saturday night, March 26th, Pell City, Alabama. Yes, we'll all be there, guaranteed on that one. We'll be there, even though I'll screw up the date, we'll be there on the right date, believe that. At Beyond Ringside on Twitter, Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live, and for me personally, it's FastEddieLane.com. Stan?
Folks, I'm excited to bring to you some official news on behalf of Corner to Corner. If you go to Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Safari, Mozilla Firefox, whatever favorite browser you may have, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Corner to Corner Wrestling.com. Go there right now. Bookmark it. Tell your friends. Tell everyone you know about corner-to-corner-wrestling.com. Now, I will say this. It is highly and heavily under construction as I continue to mimic and scrummage my way through or whatever WordPress and all the other lovely coding things. But Really excited to have this. We ran into actually a heck of a deal on the site. Got it set up, and it's looking okay so far. Make some changes here, but feel free to check it out. A big surprise, and happy to give that to you, our listeners, and thank you so much for all of the attention that you have given to us. Want to thank you for the record ratings month we have seen in our on-demand plays and downloads. We definitely appreciate that. You guys have made this so much fun to do, and it continues to grow, and that's what we love to see here. So I thank you very, very much. Round of applause for each and every one of you. Gentlemen, where can they find you on social media? Brian, this is your moment, sir.
Not going to happen. You know this is for you, Daddy-O.
Brian can be found on Twitter at STRCP21. He's on Facebook as Brian Taylor. I don't think he has Instagram. Rob, where can they find you, sir?
He does have Instagram. I just can't remember what it is.
No, I got rid of it.
Oh.
Too many dirty pics.
Whoa! What are you following on Instagram?
Nothing. They send them to me.
Yick.
What can you do?
Well, hey, if they put them out there, they put them out there. It's not your fault. Rob, where you at on social media?
Where am I at social media? I'm at my house. Hi.
Hey.
No. At Rob Hefner.
Chance Profit.
On Twitter. At RDHUWP on the Instagram. And that's about it.
And, of course, I can be found on Twitter at Stan from Krypton, on Facebook at Stan Grubb. Of course, you can find us, our new, brand spanking new website at cornertocornerwrestling.com.
Is that T.O. or number 2?
That is T.O.
Thank you.
How about that?
For the record, let me just throw this out there, Stan.
Throw it, sir.
Okay. There will probably be an under construction sign for that website for about 2 years. Stan is just a little slow in this category,
No,
but
that's
he'll
true.
get it up and running.
We'll go through 3 name changes by the time, and 17 hosts by the time that website gets up.
I have to admit, guys, I was really surprised when I looked up, just to throw it out there as far as the website is concerned. I mean, for the cost, yeah, it was a no-brainer. So please also, if you get an opportunity, once you've checked out the site, you'll notice there's an email address. We want your thoughts, comments, and, of course, general concerns, and even requests on our show. cornertocornerradio@gmail.com. We'll read it live on the air. We promise you that. And, of course, we would love to hear suggestions for the hashtagging segment.
Let's not promise too much. 'Cause if we get like 1,000 letters.
Hey, Stan, nice background paper over there, dude.
As I said, it's massively under construction, Eddie. That probably won't last much longer. I may have borrowed from ProWrestlingRadio.net just to see how it looks. I like the header portion if you guys are taking a look at it, but the text kind of needs to be realigned there. In the background, you know what, Eddie? I mean, I wanted to give it a whirl, but I just don't know if it fits there. So we might have to find something else.
Well, thanks for getting us sued on our website. It's not even open yet. Way to go.
Sorry, guys.
Hey, I'm just going to use some copyrighted material on this website.
You know what? Speaking of that, I almost put the disclaimer at the bottom, Eddie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, so final call. Rob, final thoughts?
Hey, I think we got some good things coming with the wrestling world. See what WrestleMania has in store. And Corner to Corner coming live to you every week. Corner to corner, pillar to post. We can do it.
Brian?
No. Rob said it all.
Pretty much.
Some things you just can't follow.
Go to Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I'm speechless. He's got me tonight.
Eddie?
Folks, I hope everybody's been enjoying a great weekend. We're going to be kicking off into a brand new week around the Radio Ranch, and it's just going to keep getting better. And I'll just keep coming up with background papers for everybody to use.
And I'm Stan Grubb saying, hey, protect your websites because I will steal the background.
I will kill that right-click stuff right now.
Hey, thanks.
Gawker ain't got nothing on Stan.
No, it don't.
Thanks again for all of your hard-earned time and listens, folks. Please continue to check out the webpage at cornertocornerwrestling.com. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. We are at Corner to Corner on Instagram, by the way. And we'll see you next week, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know what? Let me put an asterisk in there. It is Easter Sunday, after all. We have the opportunity to broadcast live. We'll certainly do so. However, if something comes up and we're all tied up with families, as we may be, maybe we'll do a pre-recorded edition. We'll see what happens and see who is available and how. Otherwise, we'll see you then. Thanks so much for your time and have a great night.